So, families in Canada, 2-year-old wife, get down to Syracuse, gonna fly out. Flight is canceled. The plane that was is going to Chicago is still in the thing. We get up to the front counter and they explain to us that we're gonna have to spend 24 hours basically in the airport with a 2-year-old. And the wife has a show at the Guthrie.
Yeah.
You know, I have work I have to do. I'm diabetic. I have a limited amount of insulin. And I kind of hear the conversations that are going on, and there are 2 seats on the plane that are physically empty, but the computer says that there are people there. But she knows those people took another flight.
Yeah.
But the computer won't let her get on there. And then just as I'm kind of figuring this out, I see the co-pilot kind of pop his head through the thing and go, "Come on, can we get this thing going?"
Yeah.
And I see his tie, and I see the tie pin that he has on there, and I see him go back inside. And I also had my phone out, and I got a photo of it. So when we get up there, she's like, "Yeah, there's," and I go, "So let me get this right. There are 2 seats on this plane going to the location where we want to go right now, so we can catch our connecting flight.
Yeah.
But you can't release them because the computer thinks they're occupied. There are 2. The 3 of us are going to occupy 2 seats.
Yeah.
And if we're not on that plane, I'm going to put the photo of your co-pilot's tie with the American Airlines tie with the big Confederate pin on it
Yeah.
on Twitter."
Yeah.
We were on that flight.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a use of Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, and also the counter person who has all my sympathy in the world, because that's just a crap.
Yeah.
You're on the receiving end where with the customer whose life has just been screwed with, and you have to represent the entire company.
Yeah.
And you have to represent weather.
Yeah.
So that was a red quesadilla. It was pretty good. It was spicy, but not unduly so.
Yeah. Yes, and the cheese enchilada was really good. The rice, kind of not very flavorful.
Any shows coming up you're excited about?
Well, I basically work every damn weekend doing some show, but I got After the Burial, because I'm a huge metal fan. I have them on Sunday. Saturday, Saturday I canceled. I was going to do this EDM show. I'm not doing that. For shows I'm going to, Margot Price is coming soon. She's my favorite new country artist.
Cool.
Yeah. She was here at Prairie Home Companion a few weeks ago, because she's on Jack White's label.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Being that I work in music every weekend, I'm not that excited to go to a show, and I'm not, Yeah.
Did you work the first Prairie Home Companion show this season with Jack White?
No.
Oh, okay.
I haven't done any. I've only done actual work the shows twice. I've done the the in and the outs. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I worked the season opener with Chris Thiele, the new host, and it was like being in the Aaron Sorkin pilot, because there was a lot of familiar faces, but a lot of new faces.
Okay.
And everybody was introducing each other,
Yeah.
And Jack White did the show.
Oh,
And
I think that was when Margot Price was at.
Yeah. And it was just a great show. Just
Okay.
a great show.
Yeah.
And it was kind of it was also the right time and the right place to have Jack White on, because he had just released all the acoustic covers of his stuff. So it was new, but looking back and reflective, but moving forward.
Yeah.
Which is what the show's doing. There's no longer the Lake Wobegon speeches. There's no longer Guy Noir. There's a lot of things that weren't there because those were Garrison's things.
Yeah. Okay.
And Chris Thiele is not Garrison.
Yeah.
He is a much better singer than Garrison. So instead of filling that time with one of the shortcomings of Wits, the show that was canceled.
Yeah.
Was
on forever.
That it tried to force its guests into its comedy. So at times the writing was uneven. Sometimes it worked great, but it wasn't as consistent of high end quality, because you had to kind of depend on that moment happening.
Okay.
What they do now is they have somebody come in and do 20 minutes of their best material that they think is appropriate for a perennial companion.
Yeah.
So they have, like, John Hodgman comes in and tells one of his stories from his last tour.
Okay.
And it kills.
Yeah.
Because it's been worked up. It is fully, it is a fully realized piece. And I'm really excited about the new shows. I think it works great. It's a different show. It's a different audience.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering. Like, how is his ratings doing? Are the old Lake Wobegon fans, are they staying with it? Are the new hipster kids joining in?
As far as I can tell, it's doing well. It's gaining a web audience. They put a 360 camera up in there, and there's also some produced videos on YouTube from it. So like this morning we were watching the video from last Saturday.
Okay.
During our bagel break. I think I still got poppy seeds in my teeth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's good and it's interesting. Also, I'm really thankful for it because it helped keep me back in the day. It kept me fed. It was the one real meal I had, a week. Was when Prairie Home was in town.
Yeah, that was one day when Aaron Casio got me on those Prairie Home companion calls. That's what I started understanding why everyone there was fat, because you show up and there'd be bagels and donuts right when you got there. Then there'd be a break.
Yeah.
Then there'd be lunch. Then there'd be snacks. Then there'd be dinner. Then there'd be pizza afterwards. And I was like, do we do anything but eat here? Like, we would just eat all day.
Yeah.
And you would never work that hard.
Dan married the caterer,
Oh, really? Yeah, it was just... Yeah, at first when I did, I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was the real food that I would have. It kept me alive.
Yeah,
and it was really good. So I love working Fitz gigs.
That's how it was for me back in the '90s when I was the L2 out of Jackpot Junction. Was those 4 days a month were the only peace and quiet that I got, because I got my own hotel room. You couldn't get cell phone. That was the early days of cell phones. You couldn't get cell phone coverage out there, so none of my problems could fucking get to me. Everyone else would want to go party, and I'd be like, no, I'm just going to watch HBO and sit in my room for the weekend.
For me, that's what the Canadian cottage. That's my happy place.
Yeah,
it's where I proposed to my wife, and I find it very easy to write and create up there.
Okay.
It is a good foundry.
The crap eating all this.
I'm going to save the burrito for later.
Yeah.
Take a bite of it that way.
Yeah, it's weird. I have so many weird food quirks, and one of them's burritos. I just can't. Two things I can't. Sorry.
That's right.
Two things I can't really eat is spaghetti and burritos, because that was when I was poor and homeless and on my early punk rock days.
Yeah.
That's all I would eat.
Yeah.
Burritos and spaghetti. And now that I have a union job and I have some cash, it's weird. I'll eat rotini pasta. I'll eat anything but spaghetti. And burritos just reminds me of being homeless in San Francisco, and that would be your one meal of the day would be fucking burritos.
I had a period of avoidance.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy. I was very much in the same range, but I still enjoy spaghetti.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong.
I'm trying to remember what it is that I no longer.
I can't eat Kraft mac and cheese anymore. It has to be the shells and cheese, or the Annie's. Has to be
daughter's favorite is the Kraft mac and cheese.
Yeah, it has to be a higher quality. I just can't eat it anymore.
Yeah, I try to bring in higher quality, and she's like, no.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I'm like, oh, come on, try it. No, different. It's like, oh.
Should go out. I was like that as a kid, too.
Yeah. I was a finicky. And she eats about 4.5 gallons of yogurt a day.
Okay.
Her poo may in fact be the secret lost ingredient to Roman cement.
Yeah.
Or Roman concrete.
Yeah, I found that almost all the foods that I hated as a child are all my favorite foods now. I hated beans growing up. I didn't like broccoli. For some weird reason, I liked squash and zucchini. I guess because we grew them in our backyard. So,
I'm sensitive to bitter tastes. Bitter taste tastes like poison to me. and broccoli. Broccoli just tastes like farts.
Okay.
It's like somebody just, you know, it's just like huffing farts.
Okay, yeah.
It's like I come home and the wife's cooking it, and I never make a face about it in front of my child.
Yeah.
I don't want her to know that I don't like it.
Okay.
I want to give her that that excuse or that runway. But I come home and it'll be cooking up and it just smells like it's the worst farts. I'm like, why did you put that in your face?
Yeah. Yeah, when I was growing up, it was my aversion to vegetables were only the vegetables that we didn't grow in our garden. We had a huge backyard, we had a huge garden. My dad was one of those, or still is, one of those very like self-sufficient, cheap guy. You know, he was raised poor during World War II and Korean War, and like he just was raised to.
Doesn't just make sense.
Yeah, he was just raised to keep everything. I mean, like I had to go to school and like pants that were falling apart. They didn't want to buy me new pants, so it was right ready for it. We would recycle everything, not for the earth, but to save money. You know? Yeah. And we actually, now that I've grown up and I looked at how much money my father was making, which was not very much. Being a welder in Texas does not make a lot of money. And we actually lived really well growing up in Watauga, Texas, because my dad was so frugal and so thrifty. Yeah. You know? Like I never noticed until I grew up and moved out of the house that we were actually poor. You know? I never noticed it as a kid.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have everything I needed. Well, I had everything I needed, I just didn't have everything I wanted. My father did a really good job of raising it.
Yeah, I was kind of exposed to the class structure early on, just because my mom had me when she was 16. I bounced between my mother and the man that I thought for a while was my father.
Okay.
He was actually my stepfather. And my grandparents, my mother's parents.
Yeah.
And the food security issues.
Okay.
Were not present at my was not a problem at my grandmother's. When I was with my mom, you know, she always made sure that there was food, but it was always very kind of limited, and we had to be careful about it. A lot of spaghetti, a lot of split pea soup, chipped beef.
Okay. Chipped beef in my family too. Yeah.
Because you got the little can of meat, you know.
Yeah.
Those little, and then you got a glass.
Yeah.
You know, and it was the right size for a kid-sized glass.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And you didn't have to buy it from McDonald's or you know, that's what the rest of our cups were. A collection of different restaurants and and gas stations across this country.
And not a lot of soups in my family because growing up in Texas, you know, it's not that cold, and my mom basically opened a lot of cans. You know, so all the soup I ate was canned soup. A lot of chili, a lot of deer meat, a lot of quail, a lot of fish.
We'd make a lot of chili, a lot of split pea soup.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of deer meat, a lot of quail, a lot of stuff. That me and my father hunted, a lot of fish, lots of fish growing up. Yeah, my dad was a bass master, you know, a lot of bass and rabbit, quail.
He was a bass master.
Yeah, he was.
So what? How does one get the title of bass master? I mean,
but you don't go to like a ninja training school and have some like some.
You are the bass master.
No, it is a.
Who is a bass master?
It's actually it's like Bass Masters, an actual organization where they do bass fishing competitions all across the country.
Oh, okay.
And at one point, my father was 29 out of 50, but my dad, being the Southern man he is, he would not go fishing up north because he thought all the Yankees were he thought they were just too fancy. They weren't into the fishing. They were too fancy. He didn't like it at all.
What with using their fishing rods?
He didn't like the fancy sparkle boats and all this. He just thought they were too fancy and showing off. And he wasn't into it.
Was he a rod and reel?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make. I assume Bass Masters is. But are you familiar with noodling?
Oh yeah. I've seen the catfish noodling. I have the documentary at home.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Noodling. It's one of those great films.
Oh yeah.
And that's how I knew that P Diddy was on the decline. Was when I saw that kid in there wearing the P Diddy shirt. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know.
It's just track it down.
I own it. I have it.
I'm telling you.
Oh, good. Here, yes.
Yeah.
I do like it, but at times with that, I get really sick of the whole like hipster thing of like making fun of poor people. There's a little bit of that.
But I think this was kind of curtailed because it was him returning home.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you are right. Yeah.
It was him just showing like, now I need you to see this because when I explain it to people, people just don't quite understand it. Mm-hmm. And and there's and it's a true joy and passion for it, and I don't want to do anything whatsoever to take it away from it. But it's also fucking dangerous.
Oh yeah,
it's people die doing it, so there's also kind of this sick daredevil that watches.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming because I'm seeing it on PBS and because it has the happy banjo music playing in the background, that I'm not going to see anybody die in this documentary. But there are people who talk about loved ones that got to noodle. You gotta you basically use your hand as the bait for the catfish, and they tend to go into little nests that you have to at times have to submerge your head to be able to get into there.
Yeah.
And sometimes like a rock can come down, pin your arm down, and then you can't get air, and you die noodling.
Yeah. It's a good way to go, though.
Yeah.
A lot of pride in that.
It serves a function, lack of population is not an issue we are currently having,
Yeah, I would always be scared. So I remember growing up in Texas, one of the huge lakes, Lake Worth, they had to do a bunch of maintenance on the dam, and so divers went down there, and they said when they went down there, they said that at the bottom of the dam, there were catfish that were the same size as them, that were these huge catfish, and like one of the divers just came up immediately like, fuck this, there's catfish down there, they're the size of me, yeah.
Nobody told me that here there be sea monsters.
Yeah, the one diver went down there, and then, and of course when you're 7, 8 years old, and you're seeing bits and pieces of this on the news, it just, I was just fascinated with that for like most of my life.
Yeah. Well, and there's still an
catfish.
I mean, it's a physically real cryptozoology.
Yeah.
These things should not be. But like,
yeah.
You see the fish these guys haul out.
Massive.
Yeah. They look like some sort of like bizarre hentai gone wrong. It was like fish are.
Yeah, we caught we caught a 13-pound catfish on a trot line, and that was fucking massive. So I can't imagine anything beyond 13 pounds,
Yeah. Although I keep on seeing these video of swordfish. They'll be like doing fishing, and then somebody gets injured because.
Yeah.
They'll kind of like, all right, you're gonna pull me in. I'm coming towards you, mother.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those.
Those.
That actually makes it more of a sport.
Yeah.
Unlike traditional like gun deer hunting. It's like where one of the combatants isn't really armed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a thing on Boing Boing about 6 years ago about someone that was, this woman was swordfish, she was fishing for swordfish, and when it came up, it went and stabbed her right in the chest, but her breast implant saved her life. It hit the breast implant, and went through it, and the doctor said basically the breast implant saved her life, So that was kind of interesting,
And even if it didn't, you're not going to ruin a good story like
that.
Yeah,
I think that what the Boing Boing editors are kind of saying, we don't know if this is true or not, but we're gonna go with truth here. I like the story.
All right, we're going to wrap things up here. Thanks for joining us at Sineaters. We're at Boca Chica Stockhouse. I'm Ryan Richards.
John Nobles. Check it out.
And is there anywhere you want people to get a hold of you at?
Oh, no. I like to be left alone.
All right.
It's good, yeah.
Take care.
Take care.
I appreciate you. You can support us over at patreon.com/Cult of the Month.
Yeah.
Cult of the Month, where you belong.